These are 10 PSVR tips that you need to know when setting up your new PlayStation VR headset for the first time. If you have already or are just about to buy this really cool PlayStation accessory, these tips and tricks will help you get the most out of your latest purchase. First, let's talk about the setup of the PSVR2. This has been massively improved over version 1 from the PS4. I love the simplicity. You just plug it into your console via a single USB Type-C cable and you're good to go. You'll then get an easy step-by-step process to follow, and it's probably the easiest VR setup experience in the entire world. After first setup, this is where the fit of the headset is super important. For me personally, I don't think this is the best fitting VR headset that I've used. Sony's been really clever, well, they've tried to be really clever with how the headband actually operates. So traditionally, VR gamers experience a lot of problems with too much weight and pressure being applied on the nose from the headset, whereas Sony's tried to apply all of this pressure on the forehead with this sort of halo design. So when it's on your head, all of the pressure is applied on this front pad here and then at the back. But the issue arises is if you don't wear this headset perfectly, like literally 99% accurate as how Sony intended. If you don't wear it further enough back, it's a little bit too far forward, then there's no padding at all for the front of your face, for your nose and all that. They've just got this rubbish cover that literally just used for like blocking out of the light. So you have to get this perfect, otherwise you're going to be incredibly disappointed with the overall experience. So this leaves no margin for user error regarding the fit of the headset. Like, I know the Oculus Quest headband's rubbish, but even if you don't have it fitting very well, you can still wear it for about 30 minutes or an hour and sort of get a VR experience and go, wow, this is awesome. But if you get the fit wrong on this headset, you can't wear it for more than 5 seconds. You're like, it's so unbearable. To get this right, first you want to use the release button on the front of the headset and push the screen back as far as possible. Then using the push button on the back of the headband, pull that back as far as possible, but make sure you keep this button pressed down, otherwise the headband will snap back into place in your hand. Next, place the headset as low as you possibly can on the back of your head, so the front padding is sitting nicely on your forehead. Then you can slide the fit into position and tighten the knob at the back. Finally, bring the screen as close as possible to your face, and then with this dial, you can adjust the eye width so stuff is in focus. I'd highly recommend spending quite a lot of time to figure out the ergonomics of this headset so it fits perfectly, and then also so you get it level. Because of the eye tracking, you need to get it perfectly level, otherwise the eye tracking is a little bit dodgy, and I found my head must have been like a weird shape or something. No matter how hard I tried, like my headset was just not always level inside of the setup guide when I was doing it on there, so that was a bit of a shame. A really cool feature of the PSVR2 is cinematic mode. This lets you play 2D games in a 3D environment, basically creating a massive floating screen within a virtual room. The reason why this is so clever is because the PSVR2 supports 120Hz and also HDR with its onboard displays. And maybe for a lot of people, these OLED screens inside of the headset may actually be better than the TV that they game on. And via using this headset, they can finally experience the true 120Hz power of their PS5. But there is a huge problem. Straight out of the box, the 120Hz in cinematic mode just does not work, and the option is grayed out. However, there is a way to fix this. If you go to your screen and video settings, then change 120Hz out from automatic to off, then return to accessories, PSVR2, and scroll down to video output, the option will now be unlocked for 120Hz. You can then toggle it on and it will be enabled, and once completed, you can return back to your display settings and re-enable 120Hz back to automatic, and everything should be working fine. It's so random that it does this. You can also change the size of the cinematic screen if you want it to be bigger or smaller. On the topic of link settings between your VR headset and also your PS5, we need to talk about controllers. I know a lot of people who have turned off the adaptive triggers on their PS5 DualSense controller, either because they don't like the effect, they are trying to gain a competitive advantage in FPS games, or they are looking for ways to extend the battery life of their PS5 controller. But the issue is, these same settings for your normal controllers also applies to your VR controllers. So if you turn down or disable the adaptive triggers, this will also be applied to the PSVR2 controllers as well. So currently, at this moment in time, you will need to change these settings every time you want to switch between a VR game and then change it back to off when you play your regular games. I can see Sony definitely changing this in a future update because it's a little bit weird how they're linked at the moment, and hopefully you'll be able to get some controller options for your VR2 controllers within those VR settings. As you'll want to crank the intensity up to the max, as these are some of the best VR controllers I have ever used and provide incredible immersion. A few other controller features you should know are simple but effective. When you put the wrist straps on, instead of struggling to tighten them up with your other hand and then having the controllers bashing into one another, instead you can just pull your controller and wrist away from each other and they will automatically tighten up, which is pretty nice. Nice. In addition to this, when you put your controllers down for a break, you may want to adjust the sleep time. On a full charge, you can expect to get an easy 6 hours of gameplay from these controllers, which is pretty great for a VR headset. But if you want to take a short comfort break or maybe go and grab some food, when you come back later, by default, your controllers would have remained on for that entire duration. vibration. A cool shortcut you can use to turn them off is holding the PS button down for a few seconds on the controller themselves, and this will power them down, or alternatively, you can set up a sleep timer in the settings to something like 10 minutes, which will stop you from wasting all that battery. A feature found on most modern VR headsets is a pass-through camera. This lets you see your room inside of the headset, so you can safely move around your room and not accidentally kick your cat. But if you're playing in this headset sat down, maybe inside of a racing game like Gran Turismo 7, you may not even need this feature. And if you're also playing a lot of multiplayer games, you're gonna love what I'm about to show you. Well, inside of the settings, you can reassign the function button to do other things, such as mute your microphone. Unfortunately, on the PSVR2, there doesn't seem to be any form of a volume button. I've looked everywhere, I couldn't find any volume buttons. A really useful feature is the quick setting card that is available on the PS home bar. It is there all of the time when your PSVR2 headset is connected and turned on. Inside of these settings, you will find things such as screen brightness and also audio volume levels. So unlike the Oculus Quest 2, making adjustments to the volume on the fly can be a little bit clunky. If it's a big issue for you, you can always use a wireless headset like the InZone H9s. These are much bulkier than the smaller earphones, but at least you get a volume control dial on the ear cups. But probably the best feature within these quick settings are the headset vibrations. You can turn this on and off, but I would recommend that you have it on, as the headset vibration adds another layer of immersion when playing, and also a cool sensation on your face when an explosion or something cool happens within a game. While we are discussing audio settings and also using alternative headphones, if you want to hear more things happening in your room, like a friend talking to you, or just for safety, you can enable side tone volume. If you go to settings, sound, audio output, and then general settings, you can see an option for side tone volume that you can change to various values from 1 to 5, and it will let you hear external ambient audio through your headphones. Something I noticed happening a lot during my play sessions was the safety boundaries automatically turning on when I was nowhere near the end of my play space. Thankfully, you can change this to be much less sensitive, as it does get pretty annoying after a short while. You can adjust the boundary display sensitivity to be low, medium, or high, depending on what you're experiencing within your room. For some players, if you're getting too close to a wall, you may want to turn this up to be high. And I could also see this being quite useful for a parent that's maybe setting this up for one of their children, so that they're pretty safe when they're playing. But if you're confident that the space is clear and safe, you may want to set this to be low for the most immersive experience possible that doesn't get disrupted. There are 3 different VR playstyles you can use with your PSVR2 headset. Those are sitting, standing, and also room scale. If you have a larger room, you'll want to consider playing in room scale, as you can actually walk around the environment much more freely. Sony recommends a play area of around 2 by 2 meters for this playstyle. But when playing in room scale, it's very important to not get caught on the power cord to your console, so you don't drag it across the room. You can change between your playstyles within the settings, whether you want to be stood up or sat down. And because the PSVR2 has the ability to automatically scan your play space and room, it's not very time consuming to get your room scale set back up. On the topic of playing within room scale, you may wish to turn on enhanced tracking. If you go to accessories, PlayStation VR2, and scroll down to other, you will find tracking support, where you can enable enhanced tracking. This will help improve smoothness of the tracking inside of your games if you're experiencing any glitches or errors. Personally, I've not needed to use this option, as the tracking has seemed to be very good so far. It's important to know that a border will be applied around the preview screen on your TV, so the PSVR2 can clearly have a reference point within your room. I guess this is fine, as you're not going to see this screen within the headset, but if you've maybe got a friend or somebody watching you, it might be a little bit rubbish that the screen's a little bit smaller. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing for more PlayStation tips just like this. And if you want to see some of the coolest accessories you can buy for your gaming setup, you should watch this video next.